So I have been using turmeric tincture, technically turmeric and black pepper tincture for 2 years now, regularly. And it's my favorite anti-inflammatory to date. I have a herniated disc in my lower back, and that's what I use it for the most part when it starts bothering me. Turmeric root tincture has replaced ibuprofen and even a prescription anti-inflammatory that I used to take occasionally called Mobic. It's really been amazing, and it's generally recognized as safe. It's eaten in large quantities as a spice in India and other South Asian countries. I'm really impressed with it. So I get my turmeric root. I've purchased it organic, fresh from Whole Foods. I've also purchased it from a spice company, also fresh and organic. And the alcohol that I use a 75% strength alcohol, and I mix that myself using Everclear and distilled water. If someone only had access to a 50% alcohol, I would go ahead and do it. So the first time I made this, I used a grinder. I don't have access to that grinder, so the subsequent batches have been made with a microplaner, and I just grate it into really, really, really tiny, thin pieces. I suppose I could use a Cuisinart if I wanted to. With really fresh roots, I'm afraid that would sort of turn into a puree that might be sort of hard to strain. But I just do the microplaner. It takes some time, but I don't mind. So once all that is grated up, I then add some peppercorns, some black pepper to it. Black pepper has a compound called piperin or piperine, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, that is said to make the curcumin in turmeric, which is the compound responsible for the anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties, to make that curcumin more bioavailable to us. I've seen one study that said it was up to 2,000 times more bioavailable. So after my first batch, I started adding it. And I don't really have a recipe, but I would say I add roughly 5 black peppercorns for every 3 ounces of fresh turmeric root that I use. And I don't crack the peppercorns, I just throw them in there whole. All of that goes into a jar with 75% alcohol, and I put it into a dark place for 8 weeks. I try and remember to shake it occasionally. Sometimes I'm successful and do that really well, and sometimes I'm not. And then after 8 weeks, I strain it. There's no reason you can't leave it longer. You can wait until you're ready to use it before you strain it. And to strain, I use different things. For a small batch, I might use a French press coffee maker. Those work great. I actually have a micro mesh strainer that is actually to make Greek yogurt with. So I've used that in the past. And there is a little bit of sediment left sometimes in the bottom of the tincture, and that doesn't bother me. If it bothered you, you could go ahead and use a coffee filter. And that's it. That's how to make the tincture. Sometimes I will take this tincture along with a pedicularis tincture that I don't make myself because I can't source fresh pedicularis. But pedicularis is a muscle relaxant. And I find that when my back is really stiff, the two in combination work well together. But most of the time, I'm just taking turmeric. And that's how I manage inflammation these days.